So it's been a couple of days since the attacks, which were so devastating, obviously. And I don't know, looking at what's happened, I can't help but think where are the French lawyers who are working on a case right now to indict President Holland for escalating mass murder on the other side of the world through going to war and escalating war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Afghanistan. God, I sound like Bush and Blair going to war in Iraq because of something an Afghanistan man did to the Twin Towers or a few Afghanistan men. And it's like different countries. It's not relevant. My point is a Tunisian man in France with a truck attacking people uh, cannot be used, surely cannot be legally used as justification to go to war in two unrelated countries. It's 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 just it's a wide gaping hole in the story. Surely it's illegal. Surely President Holland is breaking a law. Surely he can be stopped. Surely there is someone willing to take action to stop him. I like the word surely this time. But anyway, I mean, it's a little bit like attacking Australia for what a Chinese man did in France. I mean, it's just so irrelevant. So, and I mean, I remember when the Paris attacks happened, I was speaking to a geopolitically related friend and said, well, you know, how do these guys be in videos about terrorism, on watch lists? We all, apparently there's huge, surveillance systems to know who is threatening violence against innocent people. How do they get to walk free? And he said, well, there's about 1,000 to 1,500 people on the terrorism watch list, and so we know who they are and we monitor them. And I'm like, well, if you know the people, 1,500 people in France who are most likely to hurt innocent lives, the people who talk, who are violent, who talk or threaten violence against innocents, who are supportive of ISIS, any of those things, why are they not arrested? Why are they not immediately deported? I mean, this is not about race and religion and all Muslims and all Middle Easterns and that sort of thing. This is about there's a bunch of violent people. It doesn't matter if they're what color they are or what religion they are. There are people who have the capacity to inflict violence, and those are the people who are on this list, regardless of their other attributes. And so why is President Holland not announcing that he is arresting all of those people on the watch list and sending them out of the country? This friend of mine said, well, that would be against their human rights. Like, oh my gosh, seriously? If they're talking and threatening violence, their intent to destroy is clear. That is a crime. Surely that's a crime. They should be gone. But I mean, it's psychopathic, but I just see the link again with our political class at the moment. It's psychopathic to send the war machine, mass military power in to kill on the other side of the world. To what ends? There's no peace gained through war. I mean, it's just impossible. It means that the stage will be eternally set for lone wolf madness out of a thirst for revenge against the terror we cause, and then that cycles back to us feeling devastated and waking up with a thirst for revenge to retaliate on the other side of the world for the terror they caused. It's a cycle. It's never going to stop until I take my lipstick off my teeth, and until our leadership stops being a warmongering group of people who, President Holland was a little bit more low-key with what he said this time, but last time he said he was going to lead a pitiless war against Syria. And then we're surprised that there's another attack. If we kill, people will want to kill us. Or the other obvious option is the fact that if someone kills here 100 people in Paris, 100 people in Nice, then suddenly there's a bloodthirst again amongst the people, and we're willing for taxpayer budgets to be spent in the billions on going to murder on the other side of the world because of a completely unrelated man in France doing something with a truck. We're going to kill people in Syria and Iraq. And I'm devastated for the 80 people here. I mean, I was doing the same thing on the beach as them. I'm lucky that I wasn't in their spot. And it's so traumatic. I mean, the feeling, I lay awake all night that night. There was a military helicopter in the air, or a military aircraft, or it was just that very loud noise of war. And so I think, how do we stop them? And so I think, I mean, obviously, I've said this before, war needs to be illegal. We can't have mass murdering men walking around in suits and promoting war when it's technically for a country as acceptable. But when one guy does the same thing on a small scale, it's terrorism. It's the same thing. It's a, except our terror machine is much more terrifying. Can you imagine bombs dropping on your head? And I watch those videos of people in Palestine, Syria, Iraq, Libya, everywhere, and all the insurgencies that happen, like even the Central African one. I spent a lot of time on, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying, and our governments are involved in this, and that means we're involved with this. So I think there needs to be changes like if a country is involved in militarily aggressing another nation or whatever their justification is, even if they can somehow convince everyone that it's a worthwhile expenditure of money to kill mass amounts of people on the other side of the world, they should not be able to economically profit at the end of the war. So if France is bombing Syria and Iraq right now, at the end of the war, no French person, no French company, and no entity involved with the French government should be able to have any economic benefit. No resource contracts, no construction company contracts to rebuild the country, absolutely nothing. They, I mean, unless they make friends with their neighbouring countries and hand on the benefits and do a backdoor exchange, that directly reduces the incentive to go to war if there's no economic benefit in the country afterwards, one would hope. And I think that other surrounding industries should not benefit either. I think if there's a sort of a terrorist attack, that's not a war attack, but for me it's the same thing. The media shouldn't be playing ads for a week, wherever the terrorist attack is. I mean, it just strikes me that we're setting up a scenario where people are glued to their televisions for a week after any of these attacks, and it sort of incentivizes this culture of carnage, because where are we without the next mass shooting or the next atrocity or the next bombing or the next truck incident? It's a perverse thing to even contemplate, but I don't think there should be anyone benefiting from these. This is shifting our entire future into an eternal state of hell. To walk down the street, to sit in a cafe and not know if you're safe or not, it's too devastating. And it's not even ethical, this expenditure on war, because I read the other day that a cost of a new fighter jet is the same as what it would cost to house every single homeless person in a country. I mean, that's insane. I mean, don't buy the fighter jet. Give everyone a house. Use taxpayer dollars on giving the people of the nation dignity and good quality lives, and leave other nations in peace and get new lipstick. I don't know. I think that ISIS is too easy now. It's a mass. It's the world's greatest new super brand. That, for me, just thinking abstractly and creatively, if you were the military empire and you needed a tool that allowed you to go to war and create wars and do whatever you want to do that otherwise international law prohibits you from doing, you would create a super brand like ISIS that allows you to do anything horrific, even just a little bit small scale, enough to devastate a nation and have them calling for revenge and action, and then you would get to send entire nations to war using the taxpayers' money to pay for your budgets. I mean, wars like this, surely they're going to bankrupt France. Surely France can't afford this to continue. But we are with leadership like Holland that is a warmonger. I mean, the way to peace is peace. There is no question. You don't do an eye for an eye. That's the basis of criminal law. You respect life. You do no harm. You don't get to go and murder the person who murdered you. That's not the rules, But he's reinventing our world, as did Bush, as did Blair, as did Cameron, as all of these guys are doing. We have a sickness in our leadership, and I'm sorry for saying that, but they are sick, because when you describe the psychological traits of a terrorist, that it seems to me that they have the same, and the death surely should be stopped. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they're $1 billion. It's too easy to get. A friend of mine said to me, A, let people grieve, and B, you know, there are Tunisian people in France who hate France. But in the last 100 years, terrorist attacks haven't happened. There have been people from Tunisia who hated France a lot more a while ago. The concept of terror has been created by our governments and our countries going to war um, and diminishing the value of human life and dignity. But I just don't believe that that hate leads to it's not natural behavior to mass murder like that unless there's a benefit. So whether it's a lone wolf madman who has feels hate because of the destruction that our country is causing on the other side of the world, or whether it's set up, how will we ever know? But what we can do is try and eliminate the benefit for what is happening. Eliminate the benefit so that no $1 billion company owner and no government can profit of escalating this world of terror and destruction. It's just inhumane destruction. So I'm wondering why the 1,500 people on a terror watch list are not arrested. Anyone who threatens violence, why they're not arrested and shipped out of the country, or I don't know, but demobilised. Why are they left walking free? Why is the Guardian writing that France is funding the insurgents in Syria? That's not legal war, you know. And obviously, then an attack like this just allows their their um, their strategy to be advanced. It would seem it's all related. And obviously, the other benefit of extending the state of emergency in France is the fact that there's a whole lot of citizens protesting for their rights to their employment value at the moment, and this state of emergency allows them to be managed because obviously they can't call a state of emergency against their own citizens for protesting. So that is also extremely convenient at the cost of 80 deaths. And I mean, there's another thing that I probably shouldn't say, but when I watched that truck moving, I just felt like if the person wanted to cause mass carnage, they might have moved it a bit faster. It was going very slowly. There were policemen running alongside it at the same speed. And if he wanted to massively impact and kill as many people as possible, surely he would have gone a lot faster. He went very slowly, just enough to kill enough people to devastate everyone, but not too much. More than necessary to create the story. God, that's so perverse, but that's just what I see. I don't know. I think, I dream of peace. I don't want to hear that military helicopter in the sky anymore. I think we need to work on removing the benefits of these conflicts and creating more attacks. And I think we need to change leadership. I think